So a lot of people who are watching this show, they have startups, they're small business owners, they're entrepreneurs. Talk to us about innovation. You started to innovate with different moves. Were you the first one to do the 900?
Yeah.
Talk to us about that. How do you innovate? And then maybe kind of talk to us about how then you started this enterprise. You have a foundation, you've got your production company that does the ride channel now, you've got all these other things going on. Talk to us about innovation.
Well, I think in terms of innovation in skating, it was just always my drive to learn new tricks. And that's what got me hooked on skating. It was the feeling of making something for the first time. You have to continue challenging yourself. And I think that's the key to success and longevity in our sport, is that it doesn't matter how you rate, even if you're number one, you better learn something new, and you better keep challenging yourself, or they're going to forget about you. In business, I took the same attitude in that, what is next? What else? What is new? What can we do to keep improving? And like when I had a chance to work on a video game, I jumped into it. I mean, I worked on it for over 2 years nonstop in terms of lending my expertise, my approval, my resources. Obviously, it paid off, but for me, it just paid off in the sense that skaters appreciated the game because it represented skating well, and it was fun to play.
How did you deal with the success then? Going from humble skater.
I had a kind of huge wave of success in the late 80s, right as I was like getting out of high school, and that's when I made my most mistakes in terms of learning, like, not to allow people to just use my name and likeness, because I signed a contract and they gave me a paycheck. Yeah. Luckily, it was the 80s and was somewhat forgivable, and YouTube didn't exist then. So
right. Let's talk about some of those mistakes, and not from just like what you did wrong, but maybe in hindsight, so you can kind of share insights with people who.
Well, I gave one company who was licensing. They used to do like these keychain skateboards. And I didn't know any better, so I just signed their contract, and they gave me a upfront money and royalties. But then they just started making anything and everything that they wanted with logos I'd never even seen before, with my name. Really junky products anyway, but at the same time, I just didn't like the aesthetic of it. And I came to them and I said, "You guys can't make this logo's terrible. This is a ripoff of this other company anyway." And they're like, "Yeah, we can. You sign the paperwork." And then so I ended up sort of spending my own money to get out of that contract, and learning from that if I ever get those chances again, I'm gonna have final approval over it. And when I did get the chance again, like in the late 90s, so I kind of lived through that, and even though skating was popular and I was somewhat recognized, it wasn't mainstream popular at that kind of level. And then when skating came back in popularity in the late 90s, and that's when my video game hit, I had the clout to say no. That was the most important thing for me.
Did you get a manager? Did you get a team? Did you get a posse, a bunch of lawyers? I mean, what was the process?
I had an agent, but in the beginning, the agent was just fielding the deals I brought in, and eventually was working for me and getting other things as well. But always there was always a bit of a struggle in terms of what I would approve of, and what the agent wanted. You know what I mean? And I think the biggest lesson I learned in terms of trusting my instincts was that when the video game was just about to be released, they offered me pretty good money up front, sort of a buyout of future royalties. Yep. And at the time, like, I was doing pretty well. I just bought a house. I just started a family. I felt more comfortable and more confident with my career than I ever have in my life. And I said, you know what, I'm just going to ride it out. I'd rather see how this does. And I mean, truly, the money they were offering me compared to the money that I ended up making in the end was 20 times that.
So your message maybe is, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. You look at long term.
You have to see it through, though. You can't just do something, and if you have a taste of success, let that go, or think that you're gonna rely on that for the rest of the time. You got to keep progressing.